There is an intelligence which permeates every atom of matter and embraces every unit of energy perceptible. This infinite intelligence converts acorns into oak trees, causes water to flow downhill in response to the law of gravity, follows night with day and winter with summer. This intelligence may, through the principles of this philosophy, be induced to aid in transmuting desires into concrete or material form. But does it really work in the real world? There's only one way to find out. Hello there and welcome. Do you know, you and I are supposed to be here. We're in the right place at the right time. There are no accidents in this whole universe. Everything operates in an orderly way. You've been wandering around, I would imagine, with a desire inside that you really want to improve any or maybe all areas of your life. What you're going to hear will enable you to change that. And this is all about you. It's not about me, it's about you. I'm going to share information with you that really originated way back in 1908 from the wealthiest man in the world, Andrew Carnegie. He commissioned a young reporter to go out and find the laws that govern success. There were successful people, himself, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, some of the giants that we look at in history as names that they'll live forever. And he said it was a shame that these people were going to go to their grave with all this knowledge locked up in their bones. And he said, I think it should be recorded. And that young man, Napoleon Hill, he took Carnegie's challenge and he went and worked at that until 1928, when he wrote The Laws of Achievement. And then in 1937, from it came the book, one of the greatest selling books of all time, Think and Grow Rich. And in that book, he pointed out, after all these years of research, that he found there were 30 major causes of failure. But there were only 13 ideas that contributed to a person accumulating a fortune or enjoying real success. One of the things I found interesting is at the end of the 30 major causes of failure, he put 31. He said, if I've missed any, you can fill this in. And I would imagine that someone has filled that in. So I want you to really pay close attention. This is not an ordinary film that you're watching. These are not ordinary ideas. These ideas are coming from 57 years of focused study by myself and tens and tens of years by Napoleon Hill. But it's really the composite of some of the greatest minds that ever lived. Because he did research with these people for so long, kept picking their brains. In fact, he became very close friends with them. And what caused them to do many of the things they were doing, the ideas that got the Wright brothers off the ground, that enabled Henry Ford to build the car he built. These ideas, they're the ideas that you can have and you can use. Now, I know they work because I've used them. I've used them almost all of my adult life. In the preamble of the book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill says there's a secret in this book. And he said, if you can find the secret in the book, you can have anything you seriously want. Naturally, I'm wondering, what's the secret when I first started to read the book? Do you know, almost every seminar that I've ever spoken in, or any convention I ever spoke, I talk about that, and people say, what's the secret? I said, you know, if I told you what the secret was, you're not going to look for it. And if you don't look for it, you're not going to find what you really need to get to where you want to go. I have never told anyone what my perception of that secret is. But he pointed out that everyone who found it and used it has earned millions of dollars. They have built very large organizations, and he names them one after another. Very impressive names. Every one of them found the secret. You're going to find the secret. in these 13 principles. Believe me. One day I took a pen and I sat down and I said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. I had absolutely no idea how I was going to do it. But you know what I've found? You don't have to know how you're going to do it. You just have to know you're going to do it. So if you've got a desire to build something, to do something that's extraordinary for you, I can promise you one thing. If you will focus on what I'm suggesting, I'm going to show you how to do it. You see, the beautiful truth is you've already got everything you need inside. You don't have to get it. You don't have to follow the pattern that our formal educational institutions teach us. You don't have to read all the books. That's not necessary. I think Madame Montessori put it very well. She said we tend to send a child to school as if they're an empty cup and we expect them to fill the cup. The truth is the cup's already full. School is to help draw out what's already there. You see, you and I are God's highest form of creation. There's nothing on the planet that will even come close to us. Strange thing, you and I are the only creature on the planet that is totally disoriented in our environment. All those other little creatures, they're completely at home in their environment. They blend in. We don't. We're totally disoriented. And that is because we have the ability, you and I do, of creating our own environment. Now think of what that means. That means that you and I can literally create the life we want. As I said, when I first heard that, I did not believe it. But I knew the man that was giving me the advice believed it. And that man was Raymond Douglas Stanford, one of my very first mentors. And as he said to me, he said, Bob, your way's not working. Why don't you try mine? Now, to help you understand where I was, I'd been asked to leave school. They didn't want me there after 2 months in high school. And I can understand why they didn't want me. I was a poor student. I didn't want to pay attention. I had never had a half-decent job in my life. I was earning $4,000 a year, but I owed $6,000. The prospect of even getting out of debt wasn't there. He said, Bob, that's all reasons why you can't do what you want to do. We're not going to spend any time on that. We're going to focus on how you can. This idea has been proved by people much smarter than us. And the beautiful truth is, it works for everyone. Not just some people, for everyone. And I think this thing is stuck in my mind. He said, your way's not working. Why don't you try mine? Now spend a moment right now and ask yourself, what would you really like to do? What do you really want? The truth is your spiritual DNA is perfect. We hear a lot of talk about DNA today. Well, if you get past all the nonsense that's been programmed into our subconscious mind from genetics and in our environment, and get right down to the core of who you really are, your spiritual DNA is perfect. And it's that perfection that's seeking expression with and through us. That's why we want things. It doesn't matter what we're doing, we want more. Now, as a little boy, I was taught by my grandmother, who pretty well raised me, that you should be satisfied with what you've got. Grandma was a dear woman. She was like an angel of God, but she was wrong. We should never be satisfied with what we got. We should be happy with what we've got, but never satisfied. You see, dissatisfaction is a creative state for our mind to move into. It causes us to want to do more. We should ask ourselves where those wants come from. Do you know it's that perfection within that keeps jabbing you in the consciousness? Want this, want that. If you're running, you want to run faster. If you're jumping, you want to jump higher. If you're selling, you want to sell more. If you're singing, you want to sing a better tune. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. You want to do it better. And the beautiful part of this is you can. You see, I have practiced all 30 rules for losing. I know them well. None of them work. They'll never give us what we want. But I have spent many, many years on the 13 principles of success that have helped millions of people earn millions of dollars. And you see, the one criteria is it doesn't matter where you're at right now. If you are very successful, you can become more successful because you have infinite potential. No one can even guess at what you and I are capable of doing. If you've been failing miserably up till now, that doesn't matter. Let the dead bury the dead. We let the past go. And we just focus on who we are, where we are, and what we're going to do. These 13 principles all come together like a beautiful mosaic. Now, although I will explain each one, I don't think you can talk about one without the other. We're getting into ideas like desire, decision, the sixth sense, organized planning. All these ideas are so important, and when you first look at it, it may seem overwhelming. How would I ever be able to do this? It isn't even difficult. We're going to give you a path, and you get on that path, you're going to have an absolutely phenomenal future. The future will be beautiful. Oh, you'll have some problems. We all do. I still have, and I've been working at this for all my adult life. But you know something? Our perception of the problem is different because we see the opportunity in it. If we didn't have any problems, we would be living a pretty dull life. We wouldn't be living at all, we'd be existing. So as we go along here, really focus. Don't treat this as some self-help program. It goes so much deeper than that. It's so much more important. There's been so many hours by brilliant people that have used this information, that have tested it for many, many years. You have the opportunity now to put all this to work. And as you put it to work like that, you'll start to see changes happen. Or you give yourself a window of time, maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years. You're going to look, your perception of your life will shift so dramatically, you'll think you were reading about somebody else's life when you look back.